What's up, guys? Jason here with Yeti Gaming, continuing the German playthrough. Hearts of Iron 4, Waking the Tiger DLC. And when we left off, we were just building up our army and working towards the slow march to war. Not getting enough rubber from Siam, but that was alright. Not doing that yet. Not getting enough oil, but that's fine for now. Alright, oh, construction finished. Good. Start building some of those factories faster. We're going to bump up excavation. Machine tools. Alright. Start working on our dispersed industry. Getting the increased factory output going. Ships. We built one destroyer. That means all the subs should be doing production. So all the subs finished out. I probably won't add any more. So 20 subs is all you'll see. Getting some destroyers going. I should say we need 3 oil now. That's fine. Alright, let's see where we're gonna go next. Yep, we'll just keep going down, get some more factories. You know what, I don't think I put Rommel back. Or if I did, I didn't give him his section of the front line. And draw that now. You belong. Okay, you're part of this army that can't enter his territory. So yeah, right now, just building factories and big games. We won 33 gold medals. American came in second with 24. Jesse Owens won 4 of those. I don't know if this changes a whole lot. I haven't paid too much attention to it, but some flavor, some history. Alright, we can modify our government. So last time we bumped our export focus up. We had plenty of aluminum and steel, and we weren't really producing much, if anything else. Looks like we need to trade for some chromium now. Really showing? Yeah, we're really showing. Okay. We have to increase our trade a little bit, but that's fine because we bumped up our civilian factories. And we've only used 1 for consumer goods. So we finally got to the point where it took 1 for consumer goods. We're going to have to bump up our trade a little bit. We're going to trade Turkey for some chromium. That being used for battleships. So we finished all the destroyers. Now all the dockyards have changed production to battleship. Battleships need a lot of chromium and oil. those demands. I'll bump up from 16 to, I'm not going to go to 24 for oil. We'll meet our demand in chromium and most of our oil, and still have a good amount of factories pumping out. Dockyards right now, a few more civilians, military. I'll keep going down the list I set up last time. We modify our government. Well, we don't have, our war support's only 31%. We cannot transition to a war economy until we have 50% war support. So until that number goes up, we are stuck with the partial mobilization. Conscription, I don't want to bump it up yet because I don't want the increased training time. We still have free manpower. We still have over 1 million men. This won't be an issue really until we go to war probably, or our army gets quite a bit larger. We're up to 348,000 men in the field and training 84K, so chugging along. So we have a choice to make. We can pick a captain of industry, which will build civilian factories, infrastructure, and refineries 10% faster. We could do a war industrialist that will do military factories and dockyards faster. I don't like any of the other political advisors. I don't build fortifications, so this guy's useless to me. I don't convert, this guy's useless to me. I don't want communism support. I don't want democratic support. This guy's nice because he adds more war support. And if that was enough to kick us up to 50%, he adds 10%, so that would bump up to 41%. But it's still not enough to increase our mobilization laws, so he doesn't do anything for me at the moment. Political power game. I just don't think it's worth. Not at this point right now. Prince of Terror is nice when you have territories and you're trying to squeeze some more manpower out of them. And also reduce the resistance to your occupation. Yeah, I just don't. It's not going to help me right now. Another silent workhorse, so these two are the same. Ribbentrop, a backroom backstabber. So he gives a little bit of political power game, but also our ideology, what we're made up of, fascist, democratic, and communism. He keeps fascist from shifting, but there is no shift currently. There's no daily change to either communism or democracy. So we're fairly well entrenched there. Trade deal opinion factor. I think this has to do with getting trade deals when neutral nations may or may not want to talk to you. It helps. Or those that are trading with you like you 10% better with him. Anyway, other choices we could make, we could choose a tank designer. Of the three, I like Henschel. Porsche is a heavy tank designer, so it's going to increase the hard attack and reduce research time, while giving more armor to our tanks. Henschel reduces research time as well, increases speed and reliability. I like the reliability portion of that. Where Mann is a medium tank designer, decreases armor research time, just like the other two, increases reliability a little bit and soft attack a little bit, but it's not the 10% reliability that Henschel gives. So of the 3 tank designers, that's who I pick for Germany. We pick a shift designer, and because this guy's carrier focused, they both have carrier benefits. Let me see who's better. More armor makes our carriers be able to take more punishment, as well as giving general capital ships more armor and firepower. Less visibility, higher speed, less deck size. There's no way we'd go with this guy. Our deck size is 55 aircraft, so this would drop it by 5, bringing it down to 50. And that's just... we would go with Germania Werft, the Atlantic Fleet Designer, if we chose one of them. Aircraft designers, it depends on what you want to focus on. I would probably go with a light aircraft designer, getting the agility and max speed of a fighter and carrier fighter. They're or naval aircraft designer, making my bombers have more punch. It would be between those two, and mostly because they give the benefits to the carrier fighters and bombers. I don't use heavy fighters. I don't have a whole lot of tactical bombers. The increased reliability is nice, but we're not producing those. We're definitely not building any strategic bombers. And while there are close air support, we have a good number of them. I would rather get air superiority and be able to... my fighters would stand a better chance toe-to-toe, clear the air, and then the bombers would get to attack unimpeded. That's kind of how I see my Air Force going. Material designer, this is kind of just a catch-all for other equipment. You got tanks, Navy, and specifically tanks, where this is infantry equipment, motorized equipment, and artillery. So your traditional army designers are in here. And really that's just going to do a research time bonus for artillery, infantry, or motorized when you're researching new equipment. Industrial concerns, so right now I'm either considering a political advisor, making my factories build faster, or an industrial concern, which will reduce the industrial research time, or I could do electronics research time reduction. If you noticed in my last video where I went over engineering, this whole line is fairly research intensive, and reducing that by 10% will cut like this one down to nearly 200, maybe 210 days. So cuts a good chunk out of it, on top of what we already have from our research bonus here. Should be a 7%. I'm only showing a 3. Oh, it adds 3 more percent. So that would take me from a 7% to a 10% when I finish that. Or I could focus on industrial, get 10% bonus to research go. This side of, or maybe specifically these. Anyway, I'm gonna go with the political advisor, captain of industry, for now. And when we get to building more civilian factories, they will build 10% faster, and as well as the refineries down there. We haven't bumped up infrastructure yet, but that's because we started out as a fairly high infrastructure level. We have, I don't think we have anything less than 6 infrastructure right now, which really lets us move troops and supply at the levels that we need. So, like I said, I don't build a whole lot of infrastructure. Looks like we have another destroyer to add to the fleet. Getting there. 16 destroyers, 3 heavy cruisers. We're getting there. We're still not getting our oil demands go up. 17 needed for this trade. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. I think that the issue is that, yeah, I hadn't resumed time yet. That's interesting. I don't know if I ever noticed that before. There's a bar below each of the armies to show the strength of the opposing forces in the comparison. And it's what, I believe it's based on what we know about the enemy based on our decryption level. So, if we look at research, that the next, or the second, at the computing machine level, you can do encryption and decryption. And based on the level of your enemy's encryption versus your level of decryption, you'll know what most of their army is, as well as how strong it is, which will mean these numbers are more accurate if your decryption is stronger than their encryption. It's still going to try to guess, even if their encryption is stronger and you have no practical idea. It's still going to guess and give you this comparison, but it just won't be as accurate. So you may think they're stronger when really they're weaker. Let's see, what else were we researching? We are not researching. Okay, I'm going to switch over and get the naval bomber. I'm going to add a production, even though I don't have factories. I don't want to forget to put this guy in. He's going to go in right there, and we're going to give him 2 if we ever build some military factories. Kind of light on them right now. But it is what it is. We will press on. We're getting a good stockpile of infantry equipment going. We're just going to keep that piling up. Decent support equipment for now. We're going to want a good stockpile of this when war breaks out. Artillery, that's fine because we probably got some infantry units that are close to deploying. 93% trained. When this hits 100% trained, it'll auto deploy them as trained units. They would not quite, they won't be regulars, they'll be trained, which basically doesn't give them any advantage or disadvantage, where regular gives them a 25% modifier in combat. You can force deploy the lines instantly, they'll come out as green and they'll have a 25% penalty to combat. So just keep that in mind. Looks like we almost have a tank unit deploying. As soon as they get 5 more motorized, they'll probably hit 100% trained and kick out. Can I do the same thing? I wonder how the priority works for this. I'm going to prioritize tanks over motorized, just so he gets that 5 tanks faster, but also in the future. Looks like we're not building motorized faster, but we can't do a whole lot about that right now. MEFO bills have kicked out again, so I'm gonna, so I don't forget. I would hate to see my consumer good factory requirement jump up. Okay. It looks like some production shifted again down here in the bottom. I think we built more dockyards. We're probably on the, yeah, we're on the dockyard construction, so more dockyards got assigned to a battleship. For every dockyard, you see the number changes for oil by 2. Every dockyard is going to require 2 more oil to add its production, or add 100% of its production to construction of the ship, where it's 4 steel and 1 chromium. So each dockyard is going to require 2 oil, 4 steel, and 1 chromium, or it's going to happen at a reduced speed, so you won't get the full speed of the dockyard. That's fine. I'm going to leave it because this one's going to get built in, so what's it say it's going to be built? March of 37. So in about 6 months, this one will get kicked out. We're still working on our Carrier 1 research. When that one finishes, we'll start Carrier 2. When that one finishes, then we'll start worrying really about where our dockyards are going to be. So we have some time still. Just making ourselves a little bit stronger where we can. We'll also start building some convoys, because convoys are going to be used for amphibious assaults to move units in attack against well, our enemies, wherever they may be. Curious. Come on here, book rattle. Yeah, he still hasn't got any terrain traits. We have command points, and they're going to max out at 100, and I'm not sure if there's anything I really have to spend on them until my generals start getting some experience. Alright. Again, we're just chugging along. This part of the game, it drags on a little bit. I'll admit it. Really until you get enough army as Germany to start doing the land grabs, like annexing Austria and taking Czechoslovakia and forcing choices for other countries. About halfway through 1937, it starts to pick up a little bit. So Alright, we're going to do the same thing as last time. We're going to bump this guy up to 15 divisions. We're going to bump him up to 15 as well. That will put 30 divisions on this border. They'll be entrenched because we're just going to let them sit there. And yeah, everything else will start shifting over here. So alright, so there's that 30 divisions. These three are gonna come over to this guy, reinforce this little enclave. Look at Guderian. He's got 1 tank, 2 motorized. Rommel has 2 tanks. I'm gonna give this tank to Guderian. When we do complete a motorized, it'll go to Rommel, and we'll just kind of keep balancing out those 2 armies. It should happen relatively quickly. As soon as we get 49 more motorized, you know, about 15 days or so. I guess I could take some time while I'm waiting. So, air experience. Oh, let's pick our research before I start talking about air experience. So it's still 1936. I don't want to start any 1937 production. It's October. That's 2 months early. It adds a penalty for being early. And for this, I'm waiting on some choices that we'll make later that'll give us some bonuses. It's still 36. 36, we can do one of these. Oh, no, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start researching radio. Radio itself gives the reinforce rate faster, 5% faster. That's just reinforce rate is a chance for reserve units to become actively engaged in the fight. Being able to get those units in can give you an early advantage in a fight and can help you win more battles without losing as many men, basically. So we're going to get some radio, we're going to work towards signal company, which is going to give us that initiative that I'm working towards. Alright, we have motorized. I'm going to give that to Rommel just like we planned. Alright, air experience. I'm going to let time go as I talk about this and other things happen. And we'll get there. So still only 433. 550. So we're going to get this research slot, giving us the 5 research slots, increasing our research ability by 20%. It'll help out. We're going to get that, and then we'll do Rhineland so we can occupy the Rhineland with our military, and then hopefully 70 days for this one, 70 days for that one, in 140 days maybe we've kicked out some more infantry and we've got our manpower up high enough. We'll see. If not, what we can spend it on is army improvements and get some army doctrine research going. Okay, we finished our carrier. We're going to start our carrier 2, which is going to be the first carrier production that we really go into. Was that early? No, it wasn't. 2236, so it was not early. So there's no penalty for that. Alright, before I continue and get distracted again, so, air experience. You can create variants of many units. Tanks, light artillery, for air experience, or any aircraft that you can produce, you can create a variant of that aircraft. What that means is, like, so if I wanted to upgrade my carrier fighter, there's 4 areas. There's 4 areas for any unit you want to create a variant of. The areas change based on whether it's a airplane or a ship or like a tank or artillery. But for airplanes, you have reliability, range, weapons, and engine. And these are all kind of balanced. So if you increase range, it's going to reduce reliability. If you increase engine... Oh, I thought that would do reliability. Okay. Weapons. Alright. If you increase range or weapons, you're going to decrease reliability, and you're going to decrease max speed. Oh, I guess range doesn't do speed, but it decreases reliability. Weapons decreases speed, agility, and reliability because you're carrying more firepower. You have more weight, therefore your speed and agility drop. Because you have bigger weapons, you have less reliability. So it's all, and it used to be, it looks like they've changed it a little bit. So it used to be that weapons or range would reduce reliability by 8 each. Now weapons is 12. So to really get a nice balance in reliability, if I up 2 weapons twice, I have to do reliability 3 times. And then there's not a good way to balance and so to get an overall improvement in every area without losing reliability, and I could do that, and reliability would go up. Alright, so this would give me more range, more air attack, more agility, more speed, and more reliability. So I haven't dropped anything, everything's going up. It's going to cost me 280. If I don't pick one of these, if I drop reliability, I'm going to drop the percentage. If I don't take range, I guess range I don't have to increase range. So there's that. I could do this: 2 reliability, 2 engines, 1 weapons for 175. We're not there yet, and I don't need a variant at this time. Creating a variant is a way to kind of make a better fighter without having to research one. So a variant is going to be better than the original, even if all you did was bump reliability up 1, right? Increases reliability. It's better than the original, but it's not going to be as good. Even if you bump up weapons, you bump up engine a couple times and enough reliability to kind of cancel that out, you've made a much better fighter toe-to-toe with other enemy fighters than just a AR-197 carrier fighter would have been. But it's not going to be as good as if you had researched the next fighter. So it's like a stopgap, because the fighters are 4 years apart. So it lets you kind of get that bonus, get something a little bit better using the experience that you've learned in combat to get that. Tanks are the same way. So you got your tanks and mobile artillery, self-propelled artillery. Armor, reliability, main gun, engine. Again, if you increase one armor, you're going to reduce speed, you're going to reduce reliability. Your engines are working harder and not going as fast to get that extra protection because you're heavier. So you got to kind of bump those up to balance it out. You add a bigger gun, a stronger main gun, or maybe better heavier armor piercing ammo. It's going to cut into reliability and engine. You're not going to be as fast. So all around, it stays balanced. The airplane used to do this as well. If you put one into everything, you would get some things stronger, and some things would balance out. And it looks like they've gone away from that. Maybe, oops, that's not what I wanted at all. I did not want to start a new production. I wanted to look at the variant for the fighter. Yep, it's... One and two. Is that what we did here? Oh, so carrier fighters are different than fighters. And maybe it's just because I never focused as much on this. Maybe I just learned something new about carrier fighters versus regular fighters, and that the numbers balance out differently. Maybe I just didn't pay attention to it before, which is highly possible. But yeah, so armament, main gun, armor, reliability, engine, same as the tank. And it looks like it balances out too. You keep your speed, you keep your reliability to add one artillery armament and one armor. Just like the tank for a cost of 70. So, again, you learn experience from active fighting. You have to be fighting, although it doesn't degrade, so you're not losing the experience you have earned. It'll max out at 500, so 500 is the most you can put into a variant. However, you can create a variant, we'll say variant A, and then make a B and improve on the A, letting you kind of double up on points. So you can improve one airframe in this case. Say we did the, if we had 175 points and we did build this variant, well then we would be able to make a variant of the Model A and make a Model B, which would have the base here, and then we would just put a few more points into it, and eventually we could put in more than 500 points. But the most you could do it one time. You couldn't go all the way to, you couldn't max it out, because it would take 1,450 points to do that. You'd have to take 3 times of maxing out your air experience to get to the 5s across the board. And even then, you're losing so much reliability. I would never personally do that. Yeah, great. You've bumped your range up to almost 1,000 kilometers. Your speed's up 472.5. Your attack is up to 27. but these planes are going to break down. They're going to not be. You're going to have a high attrition rate of aircraft. 1 in 5, basically, that you assign are going to end up breaking because you don't have your reliability high enough. Not even enemy destroying them. This is random failures and accidents. So, if anything, I would find out where something like, not even that. Something along that line for my plane. And again, 550 points, so we wouldn't be able to do it even in one run. Maybe we do something like that. If it was maxed out. And then we do another variant to add the engine. So we can kick up the engine quite a bit. And maybe this is what the plane looks like at the end of its research. So we have two. We would have two variants. We would have this one. Nope. This one. Custom 475 points. We're gonna lose a little bit of agility. We're gonna get some range. This, something along that line. I'm not going to spend these points now, is what I'm getting at. So this is bumped up a little bit. It was March 9th, and now it's February 24th. So we've added factories. We're still running a deficit, and it's getting deeper because we're not trading for the extra, because I don't want to give up my civilian factories, especially when it means giving them to a future enemy. And also we're building, it's going fast enough. This will be done in 4 months, and then these will all move down to this one, and we'll knock him out in 8 months or so. And then it'll trickle down. We'll add destroyers and carriers, and we'll put them. So these are just building the one in series. We'll do the carriers and the destroyers in infinite, and we'll just keep pumping them out. And then we'll add, as we get more dockyards, as we extend our coastline, we'll add some light cruisers and heavy cruisers as well. And build up our fleet. I'm going to take a break at this point. We'll return in the next video, trudging along through 1936. Hopefully get into a good portion of 1937 in the next video, where things should pick up from there. So again, this is Jason, Dire Yeti Gaming. I hope you enjoy these videos. Go ahead, leave me comments. Let me know what you think. If there's a direction you think we should be heading in, we can discuss it in the comments. And if you do like what you see, please go ahead and subscribe to my videos. All right, thanks guys.